In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, the totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of our principles of government. That is a summary of my report on a constitutional republic, not a democracy.
Welcome back to Notify America. We have multiple pressing stories to get to, stories that include a massive bombshell that the Republican responsible for investigating the security failures around J6 says that he just uncovered. Also, we have an update on the New Hampshire primary races. Voting has begun and people are showing up to the polls as we speak. Also, a disturbing story out of Ukraine as the top spy for the Ukrainian military does an interview with the Financial Times and both admits something astounding but then doubles down on it with even more awful ideas. Also, at a campaign event yesterday, Donald Trump doubles down on his promise to ban CBDCs and gives credit for this idea where credit's due. But before we get started, thank you for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving these daily updates. Republican Representative Barry Loudermilk, who's leading the investigation into the security failures around J6, just told Fox News that the J6 Select Committee deleted 100-plus encrypted files only days prior to Republicans gaining the majority. He told Fox that he was supposed to receive 4 terabytes of archived data, but when they finally sent the files over, it was only 2 terabytes. So what they did was they had a forensic team come in to investigate these archives and found 117 files were deleted and encrypted on January 1st, 2023. That's only a few days before Loudermilk was supposed to be sent all of the files. Here's what he says on X. He posted this on X yesterday. The former J6 Select Committee went to great lengths to prevent Americans from seeing all the evidence produced in their investigation. Our subcommittee has recovered over 100 deleted and encrypted files. What else were they trying to hide? Now, what do you think they're trying to hide? Is it video evidence that possibly exonerates certain people, certain protesters who maybe were already charged, maybe already in jail? I have no idea. It's pretty interesting, though, that 100 files were deleted. Why would they do that? Let me know what you think in the comments. In another story, Donald Trump continues to promote a new campaign promise that he's going to never support a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. We reported on this last week how Vivek Ramaswamy spoke to Trump before dropping out of the race and received assurances that if he dropped out and endorsed him, that Trump would make certain issues top of his agenda. One of those issues was CBDC. Well, Trump is most definitely following through on this promise, thus far at least, and he's now giving full credit where credit's due. Watch this.
And this I do for Vivek, because he's very big into it. I happen to agree with him, but he said, could you mention this? I will never. She said, I love Vivek. I love him too now. I didn't love him when he was running, but I like him now. It's amazing the way you can like somebody when you win, right? But Vivek is great. He's really great. But he wanted this, and I'll give him full credit for it. It's very important, actually. I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
In another story, Ukraine's top military spy chief, Lieutenant General Kyrylo Budanov, was just interviewed by the Financial Times, and he explained the dire situation that Ukraine's facing right now after 2 years of non-stop war. No official death toll has really ever been released. General Budanov tells the Financial Times that he's requested to mobilize an additional 400 to 500,000 new soldiers. Here's what he said. It's not even conceivable to think that we can do without mobilization, to mobilize about 400 to 500,000 new soldiers to replace those killed or wounded and to rest those involved in the most intense fighting. Now realize, this comes after the Russians have been able to hold the front lines throughout basically the entire war, and even the Financial Times admits this in their piece. They wrote, Ukrainian troops never managed to decisively breach Russia's heavily fortified defenses. The front line remains almost the same as it looked a year ago, but Budanov maintains he was not wrong. So after years of this, after years of the Ukrainian army being grind away, they want to recruit another 400,000 to 500,000 people to do the exact same thing. There's reports that they're even recruiting older men now as there's just not enough prime-aged men left. So these 60-year-old people, these 60-year-old men are being recruited. Even people with mental disabilities are allegedly being recruited. This is what happens when you run out of people who are between 18 to 40 years old, because they're almost all gone. But the top spy over there says he recommended recruiting another 500,000 people. It's sick, folks. They have no chance of winning this. Russia has a massive populace to pull recruits from if they need to. They have immense resources. They can just keep going forever. So now that corporate media has begun to admit failure in this U.S. proxy war, will the White House and the Pentagon decide to change course? It's the definition of insanity to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right? Well, so far, we're not seeing that. The Biden administration appears to be fully committed to keeping this going, as the point of the war appears to be keeping Vladimir Putin distracted. It's got nothing to do with protecting democracy. It's all about degrading Russia on the battlefield, in my opinion at least, even if that means destroying an entire country in the process. In another story, the Supreme Court sides with Biden over Texas in the razor wire case. In a 5-4 vote on Monday, yesterday, the High Court granted an emergency appeal from the Biden administration, and guess who casted the deciding vote? Justice Roberts. This comes in the midst of a massive standoff between state power versus federal power, as Governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, has blocked the federal government from reaching the most commonly used border crossing in Eagles Pass, Texas. He's installed barricades and is physically preventing federal border patrol from entering the area, saying we're doing this to prevent any organization who's facilitating the flow of illegal immigration into the state, i.e. the federal government. In another story, voters are heading to the polls in the great state of New Hampshire. There are 10 counties in total. Now, the first votes are cast in this tiny town in Dixville Notch, held at midnight every election, where a grand total of 6 residents, all cast their votes at exactly the same time. Well, this happened this morning, and all 6 people voted for Nikki Haley. What? Watch this.
Well, I can guarantee we'll see 6 registered voters, 4 Republicans and 2 independents, and they'll vote over here in our voting booths, and we'll have the results for you within a few minutes. I don't want to make a prediction, but I will say that within the last week, all 6 of the voters got a chance to meet personally with Governor Nikki Haley, and I know they were impressed with that. She made a very good impression. So we'll see what that turns out to be tonight.
For Nikki Haley, the first vote was cast or tabulated for Nikki Haley. We don't know if that was the first vote cast, but that's the first vote tabulated for Nikki Haley.
Vote for Nikki Haley.
Nikki Haley, 6 out of 6 for Nikki Haley. So even though we would normally think of this as Trump country, it's 6 out of 6 votes for Nikki Haley. And so she is now leading the primary. We'll see how long it takes.
6 for Nikki Haley.
Now, the rest of the state votes later today, so we'll keep you posted on the results. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.